Hello plant lovers, it is Matthew in Melbourne welcoming you back to my channel. Thank you for finding me. I grow cold, cool, intermediate orchids here in Melbourne, Australia without a greenhouse, without humidifiers, without grow lights, with nothing other than my own love. So these plants are either indoors or they're outdoors or they're out of the pool. So if that sounds like it is your environment or your bag, do hit subscribe and do hit like if you like this video. I post every week about my very amateur ramblings. And today, plant lovers, look what has turned up in the post but a long magic box. And a little bit of a clue as to what might be in the box, some other relatives here. But let me unbox this first because I haven't seen how this plant looks yet. Then we'll have a little chat about its cousins and just see how the family is going to get on. Blended families can sometimes be tricky. All right, here we go. It's always so exciting to get something in the mail, isn't it? I don't know about you. But look, I have actually been, let's just say, holding back on my orchid purchasing. No, that's not true at all. Matthew, you're lying through your teeth. Oh my goodness. Here we have lots and lots of packaging. Oh, let's have a look. Okay. One of the things, oh, there we are, there's a leaf exposed. Honestly, I always feel like I'm an archaeologist unearthing Tutankhamun's pyramid and finding wonderful things. Here we go. Now you can get a sense of what's in here. This plant has come from Queensland, which is much further north than me, which is the tropical, subtropical part of Australia. You know what, I'm just going to try and pull it out by the pot, I think. Is that going to work? I really want to try and not get polystyrene. Oh, and newspaper everywhere. Look at that. Oh my goodness, look at this plant. All right, I'm going to flick the camera over so you can see it properly. Okay, here we are. We're back. Look at this. Look at that. Oh, isn't that just the healthiest of plants? And very, very well packed, given that it is a plant, not a bit of a plant or a seedling or just a pseudobulb. And I'm going to just extract the name tag for you. Right, so it is a Phaius and it is Lady Ramona Harris. Looking at you, Lady Ramona. So the Phaius. Now, the reason that I have bought this, well, there are many reasons, of course. The flowers are beautiful. Have a Google and you'll see just what I mean. Let me get rid of this box and then we can talk, as Joan Rivers said. Very, very healthy plant. All right, so what I'm going to show you is not this one just yet. Let's move that to the back. And let's look at this baby here. Now, this wonderful plant is Phaius kryptonite parkside, which is a hybrid between two different species. And the flowers were so beautiful that the seller that I bought this from had a Ramona Harris as well, a different hybridization of different species. And I have done quite well with kryptonite parkside, and in fact there is a flower spike coming which I will show you. You might be able to see here is the flower spike emerging, and I think that there might even be another flower spike emerging here. Now I was a bit concerned whether or not I would actually be able to grow this well because it is a warm growing sort of swampy orchid. Its two ancestors are. One of them, I think one of the ancestors is particularly warm to hot. It would mean that I have to grow this indoors all year and it needs bright light. And again, something I can't really guarantee inside all the time. Anyway, I bought it, it was in spike. This year it has produced two fabulous new pseudobulbs, and in fact it's producing a third, which is very strange, but anyway, out of time, out of sync. But it's got two spikes, and you never know, our luck in the big city, we might even get another spike emerging. I did have two spikes off one bulb when I bought it. Anyway, just in sort of looking at that orchid, I kind of was wending my way through the Phaius world and saw this on the website that I bought this from, and then decided, right, I'm going to have that. Sold out. gone, 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 gone. And it was the only place I had ever seen Lady Ramona for sale. So I was, of course, devastated. And the minute you can't have something, you do tend to want it a little bit more. I don't know about you. Anyway, the reason that I wanted this one, plant lovers, is that it is a shade-loving orchid. Can you believe it? So with all of this strappy gorgeousness, such similar habits to this, similar flower, but this is perhaps more beautiful, but it can take shade. Its two species ancestors are boggy, waterside growing, swampy growing orchids, but shade tolerant. So I just felt that this was going to be something that would be much easier to grow indoors. But I'm actually, because one of the parents is more of an intermediate grower, I am going to try it outside and see if it can survive our winter. And we've just descended into winter, so my poor darling plant, having come from Queensland, perhaps now isn't a good time. What I might actually do is keep it inside for this winter, let it get accustomed to Melbourne, and then next winter have it outside in spring, through summer, through autumn, and then just see if it's going to deal with those changes in temperatures naturally. So in fact, I am going to keep it inside. So I made a care video for this one, which I will link, even though it's not really a care video because I hadn't grown it properly or reflowered it. But I will give this very similar conditions, except it's going to take much more shade, which is wonderful. But it's such a beautifully elegant looking plant anyway, that it's going to look wonderful. Now, flowering time, as you can see on its cousin here, it is coming into spike now, in fact, quite well into spike. And I actually think I can just see a little nib in here, which I'll come and show you, of a flower spike emerging. Now, contrary to my normal practice, I'm not going to repot this. It's in its flower spike producing phase and it's not the season. So once the leaves drop off and once the flower has opened and died off, then is the time to repot. And I'll do a video then, because these babies, boy, do they need food. A lot of fertilizer in the mix and then a lot of fertilizer throughout its growing period. But anyway, we'll cover that when we get to it. But what a wonderful plant. But I haven't finished the where did I get you story, where did you meet your mother story. So I have joined a lot of Facebook orchid groups, and perhaps like you, I'm not really engaged with Facebook anymore. And the only reason I am is for Marketplace, let me tell you. So every now and then I dip in and I click on the market platforms that I'm a member of, and they're all nearly orchid ones, and I saw this for sale. Could not believe my eyes, jumped in, and look, it has been so beautifully packed and it's such a wonderful plant. And I've never seen it for sale since, from the seller that I was looking at, who had sold me this one originally. That's quite a big company and has lots of beautiful orchids, but just never went back into stock, and I've never seen it for sale anywhere else. So if you can deal with the moral pain of Facebook, perhaps it is worth staying engaged just for the marketplace opportunities. Anyway, here in Australia, I have got this baby. Now, there was the other one that I cast aside, which I want to show you. Here we are. Now I'm going to get a little plinth so that we elevate this baby. Now this one, plant lovers, is, let me get the dirt off that label, which is very dirty, Phaius australis. Where does that come from, Matthew? It comes from Australia. Indeed, and if we consult our Bible of Australian orchids, which I got from a thrift store, the best purchase I have ever made, it will tell us that Phaius australis is the largest terrestrial orchid native to Australia, and even when not in flower, it is a prominent plant in the well-sheltered boggy places that it frequents. Naughty, naughty orchid. And the flowering period for this is September to October, which is Australian springtime, so a fair ways off yet. Different flowering time for these hybrids, but this is native to further north in Australia, in Queensland, and the sort of tropical, subtropical areas where it grows, like its cousins over here, in boggy, marshy, damp spots. And what I can see though, which I'll come in and show you, is there is a new little growth at the bottom here. Now I'm not sure, given that it is now June, July, August, September, October, or maybe there's a chance that could be the tiniest of flower spikes. I feel the plant is too small though, but who knows, given that it's such a huge plant, as the good book says. Yeah, I wonder what that little shoot is. Either way, if it's a new growth, I'm happy. If it's a flower spike, I'm happy. But we'll see. So now I feel that my Phaius, Phaeocalanthe and Gastrophyus, which is what this is supposed to be called, but you cannot call an orchid gastro. It's a hybrid between two species, I get it, but Gastrophyus, I don't know. I mean, we all know what that sounds like, and I'm not playing that game. Anyway, what a healthy plant. So I now have 3. Very happy about these. Now with this one, with Phaeocalanthe kryptonite parkside, I have been making a video throughout its seasonality. So repotting, blooming, when it's in flower, and then when it dies down and repot it. So that's going to be sort of a 12-month epic. But anyway, so I will reconnect with this orchid so I can show you all the different cycles of its being, which will be echoed very much by this one, but I'm not sure about this one. This is the Australian native, which might just do things slightly differently. Who knows? We will see. Anyway, there we are, plant lovers. Very excited. The flowers on these, oh my goodness. I have just noticed as I'm talking to you here that there is a flower spike in there. Look at that. Goodness me, I was about to do my outro, as they say, and there's a flower spike actually growing inside the leaf axis there. How interesting. So this one produces its flower spike from the base of the pseudobulb and comes out, whereas this one appears to have its spike just there in that leaf joint. Oh my goodness. Well, we will have a lot to look at fairly soon, I think, because this spike is about the same level of growth as this one. So hopefully they'll be out at the same time and we can compare and contrast and then see what this little shoot is at the bottom of this baby. Anyway, we have a lot to look forward to. Plant lovers, I can't contain my excitement, but I'm going to have to try. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for finding me. If this is of any remote interest, do hit subscribe and follow my continuing very amateurish adventures. And I look forward to seeing you through the leaves of my Gastrophyus next week.